You're chained in darkness behind walls nearly 10 feet thick. Disease is already killing you before you plan your first move. Escaping a medieval prison was never the adventure you imagined, and the walls were only the beginning. Your survival depends entirely on the door that just locked behind you. Medieval prisons are not uniform. Your wealth and status dictate your fate. If you were King Richard the Lionheart, captured in 1192, you would spend your captivity in comfortable imperial chambers awaiting ransom. But you are a commoner, a low-status prisoner awaiting judgment in a secure stone fortress. You face the grim reality of an urban jail like London's Newgate, where the poor rot in airless pits while awaiting trial, execution, or a fine they cannot pay. You lie on wet, rot-softened straw, your wrists swollen against coarse hemp ropes. The air tastes of coal smoke and raw sewage. Under the Liber Albus, London's city ordinances, survival is a transaction. If you can pay the jailer's fees, you buy your way to the master's side, securing bedding, coal, and clean water. Without coin, you are cast into the common side. Here, you endure hard labour and rely entirely on charity from passing guilds or religious visitors who throw coarse bread and thin broth into the dirt. In these packed, windowless ruins, prisoners sleep in shifts on the cold stone. Fecal waste and vermin pollute the floor, breeding dysentery, respiratory infections, and the lethal typhus known as jail fever. Iron manacles or a wooden collar restrict your movement, while guards dictate your tiny window of daylight. Stiff, dehydrated, and disoriented by the dark, your physical strength is draining away. Immediate action is tempting, but your weakened body must now face the physical security of the fortress. You press your ear to the thick oak. By counting footsteps, you map the guard rotation. But even if you slip past the cell door, its external iron bolt is held by keeper-controlled keys. A stolen key might open one lock, only to leave you trapped at the next gatehouse. You could try bribery through a visiting relative or servant, but one betrayal turns your bargain into a death warrant. In February 1101, Ranulph Flambard, the Bishop of Durham, proved that wealth buys freedom. Imprisoned in the Tower of London, he used his vast resources to smuggle a rope inside a flagon of wine, intoxicate his keepers, and descend the outer wall. But you have no bishop's fortune. If you cannot buy the guards, your only option is the stone itself. You turn to the cold masonry, eyeing a high, narrow window where the mortar looks crumbly, a brief surge of hope. But you are up against defensive stone. Many castle keeps feature walls over 2 meters thick. Clifford's Tower in York stands with masonry measuring 9 feet 6 inches across. You claw at the mortar, scraping your fingers raw. This is no quick, silent task. Widening this gap requires hours of exhausting, noisy scraping. Even if you scale the wall, the narrow iron bars are too small to pass. Climbing this smooth, vertical stone with no handholds is a trap. One slip means a plummet back down, ending your flight in shattered bones, or a fatal fall in the dark. You pry up a loose floor stone, choosing the dark descent of a drainage channel. Without real tools, you claw at the earth with a salvaged bone, hiding the wet clay under your straw. Unstable soil threatens to bury you alive with every inch you scrape. The air grows thick, poisoned by stagnant waste and raw sewage that seeps into your raw, infected wounds. Dehydration and exhaustion sap your muscles as you drag your body through the suffocating conduit. You squeeze through the exit, but you are not free. You emerge shivering in the shadow of the outer moat, facing a steep, unfamiliar slope. You scramble up the muddy moat, reaching the shadow of the outer gatehouse. Lanterns flicker above. Watchmen pace the parapet, guarding the final locked gate. Suddenly a shadow turns. You must choose in a split second, freeze in the open mud, or run for the tree line and risk a crossbow bolt. If captured, you face brutal beatings, heavier iron fetters, or transfer to a deeper, airless pit. Execution depends entirely on your original offence. Successful escapes required immense coordination. On August 1st, 1323, wealthy noble Roger Mortimer broke out of the Tower of London. his allies bribed Deputy Constable Gerard de Alspay to drug the constable, Stephen Seagrave, and the guards. Mortimer descended a smuggled rope ladder to a waiting boat on the Thames, fleeing to France before returning to help overthrow King Edward II. Accounts of his exact route still vary, but you have no corrupt guards and no waiting boat. A watchman's lantern swings directly toward your shadow. The lantern light exposes you. In this game, the ultimate jailer isn't stone, it's your own exhaustion. Do you freeze or run? Tell us in the comments.